Hi everyone and welcome back to Nia Natters. This is episode 4 and we're going to be talking about passions and projects, what lights me up and what's on the horizon. I hope you're all well and I hope you all had a good Christmas and are looking towards the new year. I hope you've all got your New Year's resolutions underway as well, or you're currently thinking about them. I'm going to be doing mine today. So going back to passions and projects, this topic really resonates with me because this is one of my favourite topics to talk about. This is what I want to become a coach in, and I think that it can really encourage others that are listening to explore their own passions as well. So it's kind of killing two birds with one stone. So this will be divided into a few sections. So the first section will be the current passions that fuel me. The second section will be the projects that I'm currently working on now. The third section will be my future passions and dreams, my favourite thing to talk about again. And section 4 is having a bit of audience engagement as well. I have a few requests and I also have a few questions to answer. So let's get cracking and hop into section 1, which is the current passions that fuel me. So first of all, I think it's really important to determine what the word passion means to people. It can mean different things to different people, but personally, a passion is, to me anyway, is something that I deeply care about doing and therefore I will do it well. A passion is something that I just love doing and I want to do. For example, one thing that I really enjoy doing for other people is to coach them or help them in a way that a coach would. So I really love helping people, which is my passion, and I really think that my life passion, if anyone believes in life passions, I certainly do. I think that at the end of my life, or the purpose that I'm here alive is to help other people achieve what they want to do in their life and, get goals sorted, get there by the end of their life, and really make the impossible possible. So this is essential for fulfillment because I think it's really important to have a passion. I always say, I don't know if anyone's read Ikigai, is the Japanese way of living. It talks about always having a goal to achieve, because once you no longer have a goal in your life, it's really hard for you to keep going. And that's why apparently Japanese people live so long, is because they always have something to look forward to and something to achieve. And I think that is definitely true. And in my case, wanting to be a coach and help people, I think that is something that can be done for my entire life as long as I am well and am able. So now we're going to talk about my current interests and hobbies. So obviously life coaching was one example, but the smaller ones that I just enjoy doing and it makes my life worthwhile is things such as horse riding. And this enriches my life because you have to be social. Well, you don't have to be social, but you're always on a yard when you go and visit horses, so you see people with like minds and they're always there. Like, I cannot tell you how long I spend up the yard sometimes, but it's just because you get carried away, you get sucked into like this time vortex and you just don't realise that time's just slipping away because you're doing things, you're spending time with animals, you have tasks to do, you're talking to people, you go in riding, loads of things. It gets my social meter full, I suppose you could say. And I also get to enjoy some time with animals and just is a way, for me, it's a way of meditating, I think. you think of nothing else but the present in those moments, especially when you're horse riding. If you're just taking care of the horse, it's the same. And when you're spending time with them, because they know no past and no future, they just know what's happening now, and it just really gets you in the moment and settles your brain. I find this as well with walking, actually, come to think of it. I go out for walks sometimes just to stop thinking, or think quietly, if that makes sense, not with everything being busy and me doing something while I'm trying to think about something else. It's just me and quiet. I don't take headphones, I don't take music, I just go and be in that moment. Bit of meditation without actively meditating, if that makes sense. So horse riding to me is a form of relaxation, but it can also be growth, because you need to be continuously improving when you're horse riding to know what you need to know to help the horse themselves, to help yourself be a better rider, to gain knowledge, to help potential future horses that you might come across with an issue. You're always learning, because there's always something going on in the life or world of horses. So a second one, as you all know, if you don't know, then please go and check out my gaming channel, which is linked in the bio. I have been gaming for, I'd say, about 2 or 3 years now, which is crazy to say. This enriches my life because I get to, once again, fill up my social meter, but it also helps me be creative and create whatever I want, whatever I think, without it being wrong or affecting other people. Also, in terms of money, it doesn't cost anything apart from the price of the game. So if I wanted to build like a horse ranch or a farm in real life, it would cost me millions, and there's no way that I could afford that. But, just on a PC, you can do whatever you want and it wouldn't affect anyone, and you can just restart the game if you don't like something, or you can just delete it. I am very specific with things that I like, or I want to do, or I want to build. So giving me that element of control, I think I mentioned this in either episode 1 or 3, but I like having an element of control over my life. So this does that in a safe place as well. It also gives me an aspect of growth, because when you see a project developing over time, even if it's on a screen, it's still developing, and that scratches an itch somewhere in my brain. And in terms of growth as well, I think that because my channel's growing, that also scratches an itch, because there's like-minded people who are coming to enjoy the content that I make out of my creativity, and it's also benefiting me in terms of having that control to do what I want as well, which brings me relaxation depending on what game I'm playing. If I'm playing Wukong, maybe not, but other things, yeah, absolutely. And I touched on the last one. So I enjoy helping people. So at the moment I'm working on my life coaching skill, where I can then help people, and I would say that's another element of control for me, because I'm controlling a life, and not in a bad way, but I can help someone. If someone can't visualize something, such as the path of their life, but they know what their end goal is, I love creating the path to their end goal, or helping them along the journey. This also gives me the creativity, because I can help them create the path. This also helps me grow, because I am helping another person grow, and therefore also self-reflecting during that time as well. and is really relaxing for me as well. It's one of the most enjoyable things that I could be doing. So in the second section, we're going to move on to the projects that I'm currently working on. So I think this is just expanding more on what I just said, such as life coaching. I'm currently working on my life coaching website. I really made a big effort about my website recently because I want it to look really professional. I want people to come to me and request a package. I also am happy to mention that I have my first client starting with me in January for 5 weeks, and I'm very excited about that. That will give me confidence to continue on, and I really hope that we can accomplish what the client wants out of this package. And also I hope we can create a very meaningful relationship that lasts a long time. So if they ever feel that they need to come back and select another package or work more on the current package, then they can do so. That's one thing I love, is people having trust in me. That is something that I can't think of anything better. And then within this, there has been some challenges. So life coaching has been going on for quite a few years in my life, I would say since COVID, but I've only now seriously started on it because I've always struggled with thinking of myself as competent to do this without qualifications, which you don't need. You don't need qualifications to be a coach, but some people are more enticed when they know that you have qualifications or certification. But personally, I'm not able to do that right now, but it is something that I will look on in the future. However, this was discussed back in COVID with a coach, and the coach that I was working with she was a coach for coaching, and I was at a workshop with all these other coaches, and she mentioned to me that she didn't have a qualification or certification, and yet she'd been coaching for 19 years, or since she was 19, I can't really remember. But that was quite a long time that she'd been coaching, and that really gave me the confidence. But I think that since then, I still had some confidence issues to overcome and just commit. I struggle to commit to things when I know that they might not go well. I know, terrible. I'm working on it, and I've worked really hard on this, and we're doing a lot better. But that's why it's taken me so long to work on these projects, because I just didn't know what the outcome would be, and I still don't know, but that's okay. As long as I'm trying and I'm reaching out, then that is okay. So some of the milestones that I've achieved in this project would be that I've successfully completed my website. I have some marketing to do, which I am going to be working on this week. I have used a method, which I'll be discussing later on, about how I create a schedule on completing everything. I also have worked really hard on the packages that I'm going to be providing to clients instead of the basic packages that I used to have. So it's looking a lot better, and I'm feeling more confident in myself and my work because of this better structure. I also have done a lot of self-work. I think that my current role in my job has really pushed me to overcome the challenges within being a life coach or creating my own business, but it is definitely the one thing that I want to achieve in my life. So I'm hoping that we can do that this year, which is really exciting. So the next one that I am working on now is definitely my gaming. I would say that especially before Christmas, I really pushed myself to upload a video every single day. And it really paid off. Like, my consistency and commitment to the channel really showed in the amount of subscribers that I received towards the end of the year. I really hope to accomplish 500 subs in the new year, meaning in 2025 I want to reach 500 subs. I just think that this would really give me a good boost about my channel and also give myself a little bit of a reward for working hard. The challenges for this would be seeing my subscribers reduce, or when I first started it was really hard maintaining momentum when not many people were watching and not many people were interacting. I also started off on Twitch, but by the time I got to 60 followers, it was really not worth doing Twitch because I felt like the amount that they gave you as a creator was hardly anything. Although I think in the future I will be going back down that route and seeing what I can benefit from on Twitch, because I've had a few people telling me that I really need to go over to Twitch and stream on there as well. I think maybe when I get my upgraded PC, which will not be for a while, I will look into being able to stream on YouTube and Twitch at the same time, depending on what type of internet I have and how bulky my PC will be. I think a major milestone of mine was getting over the 200 mark after thinking that I wouldn't even get this far by the end of 2024. So thank you all for your support. If you do subscribe or have subscribed on my gaming channel, I appreciate you all. If you've all come over from there, then I do appreciate you. So let's have a look at my future passions and dreams. This is my favorite topic. So first of all, before I start though, I want to kind of give you a background on how I'm thinking of achieving these passions and dreams, because they're not just going to materialize out of nowhere, you know? So off the back of my life coaching business, I'm hoping to get that up to a point and invest the money that I've earned off that to be able to go into that full time and benefit off of the money that I earned. I'm not going to be stupid about it. I will use it to invest in ISAs and also stocks, which I am quite good at. Touch wood. Don't want all my stocks going now. But that's the plan first, to be able to achieve my future passions and dreams, because you'll see why in a minute. So first of all, the future interests I want to explore is being an entrepreneur. Like I just said, I want my own business. I want my own coaching business. I want to be able to expand how many people that I can reach. I want to be able to help as many people as possible. I want to see them thriving. And to do this, I definitely think that I need to work on being a business owner and learning what that means and what I have to do to become that. So that is step number 1. Following this, when I have, let's just say, these are my dreams now. I don't even know if I can get these dreams, okay? So another one is buying abandoned houses and mansions in Wales at this moment in time, specifically, and restoring them to how they used to look. I really want to do this to be able to give people the experience, like the Bridgeton experience. I want horses to be kept on the land. So, okay, right. So with the abandoned houses, the smaller ones, they'd become like Airbnbs, right? And I just want to make sure that they're rebuilt safely and they have a home. So maybe I can even rent those out, Airbnb them or sell them once restored. I just hate going through Wales sometimes and seeing all these little houses and stuff that are abandoned because people don't look after them. Okay, maybe they were abandoned because they were unsafe, but let's make them safe, let's build on them, and let's go. So then I want to buy abandoned mansions and I want to restore them to how they used to look when they were built, like in their prime time. You know where I'm like with my Sims 4 and New Orleans. Everything has to be restored to the correct age. And then I want, if the house is big enough, to have horse stables around the back, because some of these places already do. They have barns and stuff. So I will restore the barns, make them safe for horses, make sure the horses are having the best life ever, but purchase some horses, get some staff that I really believe want the best for these animals. And I want to train them to pull a carriage, so you have to park like right down the bottom of the land and be taken by horse carriage up to the front of this building. At least one of my mansions need to have this, right? And then you go check in, like, you know, like you're a guest in the lord or lady's house. And they have all the cutlery and the butlers and the maids and stuff. They'll be paid well. There'll be gardeners and everything, and it'll just look amazing. And hopefully there'll be enough land that you can take romantic walks or just have little games going on all the time, or, you know, things like that. But it will be cornered off. So people who are not staying will find it difficult or challenging to reach the place, because it won't be like right on the road, right? I don't want, I want people staying there that will look after the things and not take the mick or steal anything from there. Anyways, that's one goal. I'm hoping you're imagining this now, because I just got lost in my own brain thinking about that. The second one, I don't know if this will be a surprise, but I really want to write a book. I want to write a few books, actually, but with me, I get so annoyed and impatient about writing. I just want them to be done. I just want them to be published already, you know? Because I can see it running in my brain. And I have loads. I have about 3 stories I want to publish, and one of those stories is like a big series of a couple of books, and all of the books will have different characters that all intertwine, and that you'll know that they're when things are happening based on like the first book of the series. So the first book will follow like a certain person as she goes through life, and it'll talk about not the royal family, but a royal family in the fantasy world. And then you'll have another view of the same book of someone else's life, and like how you don't realize how different things are happening outside of your life, and what things people are going through, if that makes sense. So yeah, I've already written the start of a series down. I don't know if it'll be anyone's cup of tea. I don't think the current audience I have, it will be your cup of tea. But for the fantasy girlies, it'll be their cup of tea, I'm hoping, if I do ever write it. The next one will be travel. I want to travel. I want to experience different cultures. I want to learn languages. I want to see places. I want influence from different architecture. I want to see how other people live, and life is so short that I just think travelling is definitely one thing that almost everyone should be aspiring to do at some point. This will make me a better person, I think. I think travelling will make you a more rounded person. It will make your eyes and mind more open and accepting towards different people. And I think that you'll have a better opinion on the world and different countries this way as well. And lastly, another passion or dream of mine is to adopt and train and rehome, not all of them, but specific animals, like especially dogs and horses, and help them with any problems that they have, such as health or just training problems, so that they can find a permanent loving family. And believe me when I say that if this happens and I give this animal to someone for their permanent home, that I will be making follow-ups on making sure that they are willing, well, first of all, before giving the animal to them, that this person is willing to keep this animal for the rest of their life. And secondly, I will be following up maybe every year or so on how the animal's doing, whether it needs any more help, things like that. And lastly, I completely forgot about this one. I want to create a support system for farmers within the UK. Maybe they'll expand out, but for the moment, just farmers in the UK, to make sure that they are funded enough to still be able to do what they love or do what they were born into without any issues, such as pressures of selling their land, selling their home, not receiving enough income to continue, things like that. I think is very important, and it'll enrich my life because I know that what I'm doing is doing good for other people and making sure that they're heard and they're supported in the right way that the government isn't supporting them at the moment. I really want to maybe look into this a bit further and potentially do an entire podcast episode on farmers in the UK and see if I can get any words from farmers around here, local farmers or farmers in the UK, whether they are being supported enough and whether what the media is showing is the truth. Personally, I think is the truth. I'm not saying that I'm knowledgeable in this, but and this is going to sound ridiculous, but I've watched Clarkson's Farm. I've grown up around farmers. I know how much time and effort they put into their land just for it to be increased to 40% tax, inheritance tax. I just don't think is a good move made by the government, and I just want to help them as much as I possibly can. So yeah, that is my current future passions and dreams. So I want to kind of turn the microphone to you for a minute. So I want to ask you this, and please make sure that you type your comments down below as well. I really want to know your answer. So what is something you've always wanted to do in your life? What is your passion, or what is your future passion that you haven't started yet but you want to do? So I'm going to go on to a few tips on starting passions and how to create goals for them, because I know that this is a question that was asked to me previously and I wanted to make sure that I covered it here, although in the future I will be making an entire podcast episode on creating goals and setting out how to achieve them. So first of all, with your goal, make sure that they are small and manageable and not overwhelming. As soon as you start feeling overwhelmed with a goal, it's not small enough. You need literally a step by step. You need to put one foot in front of the other, and that's what your goal should look like. Make sure you research and plan ahead with your goal, so I will give you examples for that in a second. And make sure that you embrace making mistakes within the learning curve and that you enjoy the process of achieving your passion. So, for example, for me personally, when setting goals, I make sure that I have about a rough 5-year plan. That doesn't mean that I have goals set for all 5 years. I have an image in my brain of what I want my life to look like within 5 years, or, in the next 5 years. And then I break down those goals into smaller and smaller things. So let's just say, for example, we'll go back to my life coaching business. So a year ago, I said to myself, I want a life coaching business. That's not when it started, but I really started working on it last year. It was one of my goals within my 5-year plan this time last year. So I said, I want to create a life coaching business. So how do I do that? Well, I can't just put that as my goal because it is way too big and way too vague. You need SMART goals. I know that this has been probably drilled into you since school, like it has with me, but there's no better way of doing a goal than a SMART goal. So for example, if you're thinking about my goal, it has to be specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. I think time is the most important thing when it comes to setting a goal within a specific year plan, because you have to think about how long this goal is going to take you, whether the specific steps are going to be long-term or short-term goals, whether you can do something and complete it in a short amount of time, or whether it spans every day for a year, 2 years, 3 years. So going back to my life coaching goal, the first thing that I wanted to do was set up a website and also market. So I had, within these two things, the setting up a website is a short-term goal because once it's done, it's completed. The marketing is a continuous thing, so a long-term goal. So within the short-term goals, I had to break that down even more. So I can't just say, I want to start a life coaching website. What does that mean? I have to make a homepage. I have to make a blog. I have to make an About Me page. I have to research what packages I want to do. I want to research what niche I want to do. I want to research what I want my clients to achieve. And within that, I also have to think about pricing, how long these packages are going to be, what they're going to include, what I have to make for those packages, whether I need to create activities for the client to take home and complete, how I wanted to coach. So over the last year, I've downloaded a program to help me create my coaching business, how to coach. I've also read a book called The Life Coaching Handbook, where it gives you ways to set up your sessions so that you know how to set out a goal with the client. And then on the other hand, with the marketing, I first had to find out what people that I wanted to target are looking for. Like, who are they? Where would they most likely be? And I found, to be honest, that Reddit is such a good place to market. If you find the correct channels on Reddit, then you'll do great. And that's actually where I found my current client. And So you need to make them into small steps. So let's go back to my coaching website. Every week, or for an hour every week, I would work on my website until it was completed and done the way that I wanted to. Always go back and always recheck over something as well. I went back after a few months and I was like, I'm not happy with my packages, so I redid them, and now I have a potential client. So that's the difference between long-term goals and short-term goals. So every year, even though I know what I want in 5 years, I just focus on the next year ahead. So I then question, what can I start now? So right now, I am doing my blog on my website. I am teaching myself to market. And I have my first client, which I could really utilise in getting me more clients because of their feedback and what it will be. I can also see whether my website and my packages are what I want them to be based on the outcome of my client. So let's just say you are looking at the next year now. I would say no more than 3 goals a month, and that is maybe one long-term goal. No. I'm just trying to think. So, for example, next year, I haven't written my New Year's resolutions, but I have a good idea of what I want within January. So number 1 is to have the first potentially 3 sessions with my client, because it will be weekly. So that's a short-term goal because they only happen an hour at a time or 2 hours if I have to prepare worksheets and activities for the client to work on outside of our sessions. Number 2 is I want to work on my health. So with this, I want to go to the gym 3 times a week and horse ride once a week. That's technically 2 goals, but you know where I'm like. And I'll get to how I juggle all of this in a sec. So that's that. And then I'm gonna have to reduce my gaming down a little bit, but it'll still be there running in the background because that's a consistent thing that I do now, so I'm used to it. And what else is there? Obviously my podcast is included in that because gaming and podcasts are both just recording videos. So I'm going to have to make a new timetable or schedule for that. And I think that's it, apart from working. Technically, I want to learn Chinese as well, but I don't know if that's achievable at the moment. However, I will tell you a really good helpful tip that I've started doing, and that is requesting ChatGPT to create my weekly routine for me. I used to block out, and I do still recommend this, but I'm currently trialing ChatGPT and for them to create a routine for me every day, or like a weekly routine, a weekday routine should I say, and a weekend routine, because I do specific things on Saturdays and Sundays. So yeah, I'm currently trialing that, so I will let you know in future podcasts how that's going. But I also found that asking ChatGPT to create a routine and just following it makes me have to think and worry less. And secondly, if you wanted to prioritize your goals because you didn't know what to work on throughout the months, I would suggest not to go over 3 goals per month because it gets overwhelming. If they're easier, then maybe you can increase it. But, you know, if the goal is just like go shopping once this month. That's a one-time thing, so it won't take up much of your time. But if all of your goals are time-consuming, then I don't suggest that they're all done all at the same time in the same month. If they're short-term goals, obviously pick different months to do your short-term goals in, alongside some continuous long-term goals that might last a few months or the entire year. If it lasts the entire year, then obviously that is a static, continuous goal that you can't replace anything with, but just bear in mind how much time that takes you before you start setting other goals in the same month. Also, you can ask ChatGPT to prioritize the goals into different months for you. So that is definitely something to consider. ChatGPT has changed my life in the past 2 months, honest to God. They've made me a day routine based on the age that I am, so they know how long I need to sleep, what I need to do every day, and because I'm so busy, how I can optimize my time to do everything that I want to do without having to forfeit anything, because I'm more than prepared to work harder in January to get some things out of the way to have a calmer February, and my priorities of the things that I have to do will change in February as well. Anyway, enough chitter chatter about that. But yeah, I hope that this helped with goal setting, and if you want me to, I can pop my link to my 5-year plan down below. I do sell it on Etsy, so it's about £2, I think, £2.50 to buy, but I will be looking to redo that as well. It needs a good revamp, so if you want it, then please take it, but if you want to wait, then I will let you know when the next one has been created and has been replaced, or has replaced that one, should I say. So we're going to move on quickly to some questions that I had surrounding this podcast. So from Marcus, who said, theoretically, if you were to branch out to other content aside from gaming and ASMR, what would it be? So if that is YouTube content, I'm assuming, it would definitely be animal training if I had animals, but I could always post my horse riding videos if I once I start horse riding again. I would also love to do vlogs eventually, but I'm not the aesthetic person, so I'm gonna have to work on that first. I do put out some content on TikTok about my skincare routine, and that will be changing into a hair care routine as well once I finally get onto that, but that's more of a girl niche, right? I don't know, if you guys are interested, then please let me know. But yeah, ASMR, I wouldn't say that I do just ASMR. I am currently doing 5 podcast episodes, so this is my 4th out of 5 of myself, and then I'm doing the next 5 about life coaching, which actually brings me on to a good topic. After the 5 life coaching episodes, what type of content would you like to see on this channel? So the second question from Marcus is, would you use your platform, particularly on YouTube, for more than streaming? Yes, so if, let's just say we're looking into the future, if I get what I want and I have a successful coaching business, I would definitely use YouTube for coaching. I would bring out topics that I think everyone would benefit from. I could even do some live coaching. And then I would also want to show the progress of any abandoned houses that I bought and how we brought it back to life, and that would be how I market that. And then lastly, I would think that I would like to show any animals that I adopted or bought to train, or if people just want to give me their animals to train for a week or so, then I would love to do some content on that to show and help people. So mainly that type of stuff, to be honest. I always toy with the idea of making vlogs, but I really don't think I'm that person. I tried it in university and I just gave up because I'm so lazy editing. So if I had editing help, I would definitely do more. And last question is, if you were to collaborate with anyone, who would it be if I got such attention? So this is leaning more towards the gaming and animal side. So if I had enough attention where people would actually collaborate with me, I would definitely use this opportunity to either go to Clinton Anderson, who is a Western performance horse ranch owner on YouTube. He has a lot of controversy, to be honest, on the way that he trains his horses, but I would really like to take the opportunity to maybe go and be taught by him for a few weeks and create content from that, and that would be marketing for him as well. I've always been interested in Western riding and Western training of horses, so I really want to test my beliefs with that as well. Another person would be, I'm going to give you three, I apologise. Another person would be Emma Massingale. She trains her horses through liberty, so she doesn't force them with pressure. I think she does just the natural way of how a horse behaves, and she just kind of influences them by using her already trained horses, or she's crazy. I don't think I would go and collaborate with her in terms of like when she goes on an island for a few weeks by herself with just food, a tent and her horses, and has to like find a way to gather water to shower and bath in or things like that, or like food to cook. I am not that type of person, but I would love to really get some training from her in terms of how she trains her horses, and I really want to see that side, like liberty side of training horses as well. Although I've been horse riding for 11 years of my life, my beliefs and my training methods are still really niche, so I really want to expand on that and get as much awareness about training methods and as much knowledge as possible before I am able to move into that kind of thing. So I think I would transition to that in a way through maybe my podcast, or if I did have like vlogs or something, I would definitely go and start vlogging farms and stuff, and then kind of transition it into horse content or farm content, and then it would make more sense on creating videos on ranches and stuff. In terms of gaming, I'm really not a big fan of any Sims 4 builder or gamer. I think that's down to not my OCD, but my need for like doing things perfectly or with a lot of research. So I would definitely like to speak to ZH Plays, who is a Planet Zoo creator. He builds Planet zoos. And the way that he creates is so detailed and meticulous and perfect that I would just love to get inside his brain and talk to him about like where he gets his ideas from. I know he does them based off of zoos that he's visited, but how he sets everything out just amazes me. So yeah, I think that's where I would go with that. I hope I answered those questions well enough. And yeah, that's basically all the questions that I had for today. Please, if you do have any questions, then leave them in the comments below, or every week before my podcast is out, I will post on my community tab about whether you have any questions surrounding the topic I'm going to be talking about. So do keep an eye out for that if you do want to ask any questions. But thank you for listening, as always. I hope you enjoyed listening about my passions, what I believe passions mean, my future passions, and some questions that I've been asked. And goal setting, obviously. So the next topic for next week, which will be the fifth episode on my channel, which means that the 5 podcasts surrounding me and giving an introduction to me and my life will be finished. So the next week's episode, which is the last episode of that type of podcast, is called Let's Talk About Personal Growth, My Journey to Self-Improvement, which is going to be a very challenging topic to talk about in depth, but I will give it my best shot. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this week's podcast. Let me know below by either giving my podcast a like or subscribing if you haven't already. And yeah, please leave comments below answering my questions and giving me some help for the next one. If you haven't seen already, I have also started a Nia Natta's Journey to the West podcast category, which can be found on my podcast channel page. It's talking through Journey to the West books, and I'm reading every single chapter, which equals 100 chapters, and then I will be doing a little summary point in between to summarize the chapters that I'd read, compare it to the game, and give the similarities, differences, and just an overview. So if you're interested in that, please go and check that out. And if you haven't already, please go and check out my gaming YouTube channel as well, which can be found in my bio on my channel. Other than that, I will see you all next week, and I hope you have a good week and a happy new year. Bye everyone.